Hi friends, I hope all of you are doing well and your preparations for RBI Grade B 2024 exam is going good, right? So why are we here today? We have our examination on 8th of September, the phase 1 exam, and a very important section to clear the preliminary exam, which is the phase 1 of RBI Grade B, is going to be your GA section for sure, right? And at this point of time, the next 15 to 18 days are very crucial from the perspective of examination. So, in case you're somebody who's still confused about the GA section, or you're somebody who has prepared but you're not very sure if your preparation is up to the mark, this is the right video for you. So let's get to the point. Let us have a very realistic discussion wherein we're not talking about, say, doing things which are out of our hands, but we're going to talk sense about what needs to be done and what are the important mistakes that the candidates usually commit. Okay, so let's quickly begin. Fine. So let's talk about the important dates quickly. So 16th of August till 6 p.m. you can fill in the form. So in case you're still figuring out, please do it quickly, right? Phase 1, 8th of September 2024. Phase 2, 19th of October 2024. So this particular video is going to help you to clear your 8th September exam, which is the preliminary phase of RBI Grade B 2024. Okay, the agenda of the session, I'm going to keep it very short, but whatever I say, please give importance to those points, because you need to be very sure that you're doing the right thing in the next 15 to 20 days, because that will decide you clearing the examination or not. Okay, the first thing, we'll quickly see the importance of GA section. Okay, and the second thing, the realistic study plan. The last part is how to maximize your score in GA, because you need to have a proper strategy. Okay, fine. Now here we know that we have nearly 20-25 days roughly in our hands. Okay, importance of GA, self-explanatory. If you look at the pattern of the phase 1 exam, clearly out of 200 marks, 80 marks is for GA, right? So you can understand that you need to make sure you are getting good marks there. Fine. One other important point that most of us miss is we have the sectional timing, and to complete the GA section, you need to solve the section in 25 minutes. You cannot go back and forth between the sections. So if you're attempting GA, you cannot stop and go to reasoning and then come back. No, there will be a timer which will run for 25 minutes, and in those 25 minutes you'll have to complete GA. Once the timer is done, the timer for reasoning will start, so you will not be able to go back to the GA section. So for those who are new, I'm just explaining it again. Now, 80 questions, there are high chances that you're not able to go through all those 80 questions. Keep in mind, right? There can be instance wherein if the question is lengthy, okay, so you might stop, or you might miss out on, say, last 10 to 12 or 15 questions also. So what is the hack here? What do? We just have 25 minutes, right? And if the questions are lengthy, it's not in your hands. The key to clear the section in this particular scenario is going to be your accuracy. So people forget this. There is negative marking. And if you are accurate, even if you're attempting or seeing, say, only 60 questions, and say if your 40 questions are correct, that's it. Your job is done, right? If the paper is tough, obviously the expectation is 35 to 40 out of 80 in case the difficulty level is high, right? So from now on, whenever you are attempting questions, always keep in mind that you need to see how accurate you are, right? People forget about that and they just keep reading GA and just keep preparing. That's the wrong approach. Okay, fine. What are the other important points? Let's talk about coverage. Usually 4-5 months comfortably is the coverage in terms of how many months you need to prepare for, how many months, the phase 1 GA. 6-7 usually for phase 2. But let's break it down further. If you talk about reports and indices, the last 5 or 6 months are crucial. Okay, there are questions from that particular area. Government schemes, the ones which are in news for the last 6 months are going to be important, right? Apart from that, flagship schemes under each ministry, irrespective of the year, that's also important. Now, one other crucial point that I'm going to mention here is the depth of coverage. Let me explain what do I mean. See, mostly the queries that I get from students, or even when I used to train students in say 2017 or 18 back then, the common question was, how many months do we need to prepare? Which is fair. You're asking about the number of months for preparing for GA. But nobody used to, be bothered about how much coverage, what is the depth of coverage that is required. Now, I'll tell you why. You can prepare yourselves for, say, Jan, Feb, March, April, May, and still you're not able to answer the questions asked in the paper. That happens, right? It happens with many of us. Why? Because you don't know where to stop. If I'm reading a particular news article, you need to know from the perspective of the examination what are the areas I need to cover in that particular news article. Okay. Any index is released. Okay. Who releases that report? What is the ranking? What are the dimensions that they take into account? Which is a country which is ranked as the first one, the second one, the third one? What was India's ranking last year, and what is India's ranking this year? So has India improved, or has India gone back in the ranking, right? Any special mention of a particular, say, formula, or some kind of new thing added to the report, or dimension added to the report? Just giving you examples here. So you need to go to that particular depth to answer the questions that are asked in the GA section. Not all the questions would require in-depth knowledge, but yes, most of the questions do, right? So please focus on quality, okay, not the quantity. Plus, there are thousands of MCQs in the market, but you need to realize, are you going after the right ones? Because just continuously answering the questions would not help you. You need to make sure you're studying the detailed explanation of those questions. Few of the questions, if they have good detailed explanation, there are very high chances that you're going to cover the entire topic in that particular question. Okay, so make sure there is a well thought through attempt of the questions that you're doing, right? Okay, so that is what I meant by depth of coverage, which is very important. Let's straight away go to the study plan. Honestly, 15th to 18th August, I would say focus on April and May, right? You'll have to somehow figure out time because you have holidays. I do understand festivities are there and it's perfectly fine to take some time out, but if you can utilize your weekend a bit and stretch yourself, complete April and May, right? And you can just study the highlights of the union budget per se, right? You can also study government schemes and news, reports and indices, RBI circular notification, which is pertaining to April and May only, right? So keep your coverage fixed. But again, the point that I mentioned, the depth is going to be equally important. So don't miss out on the depth of coverage. Okay. The next segregation in the study plan can be from 19th of August to 25th of August. Okay, wherein you can focus on June month, right? And if I say focus on June month, your focus should be on PIB news. Your focus should be on RBI circulars and notification, reports and indices, government schemes and news for that particular month. That is the June month that we are talking about, right? Apart from that, it is also important to have some basics ready, because in the previous years we have seen the questions are being asked from areas like structure and functions of financial institutions, functions of RBI, or maybe say NBFCs. So these topics that you can see on your screen are going to help you in phase 2 also, and there is a good weightage in phase 1 GA section also, right? So you can just brush up your knowledge and understand these particular topics that I have given you here, which will help you score in phase 1. The next segregation is going to be from 26th August to 31st of August, wherein your focus will be shifted from June to July, August, right? Again, study PIB news, study RBI circulars and notifications, reports and indices, government schemes, okay? Along with that, make sure you're studying economic survey and RBI annual report. Here, the focus is for July and August, okay? And the last segment is going to be August again, right? The entire month of August, revise it very thoroughly, right? And do the very important thing that is required, which is revision. Okay, so yeah, it does seem a little overwhelming, but since we are very near to the examination, I would suggest you can make your own plan in case you are already in the middle of the preparation, right? And you're very sure about what you're doing, you can make your own plan. But if you feel you need a help. So this is something that you can use, which will help you understand the coverage. Okay. But again, I'm repeating myself because I know this is a common mistake. Please solve the MCQs with focus. Okay, and there's a very high chance that if you are focused in solving the tests, right, you'll be able to answer the questions properly. If you keep reading again and again without realizing how much of it you remember, that is going to cost you on the examination day, right? Okay. How to score 35 plus out of 80 if the paper is tough, and how to score 55 plus out of 80 in the case the paper is easy. Okay. So obviously if the paper is easy, you need to cross this benchmark of 55, and if the paper is tough, 35 is a must, crossing it as a benchmark, because obviously the cutoff would vary based on the difficulty level of the paper. Now, see, very simple analysis here. How do you reach to that number, basically, is what we are talking about here. Now, the category one, that is here, don't get confused. Based on the type of questions asked in the GA section, we have categorized those questions. Okay. So the first one is banking awareness or finance topics, the one that I showed you, right? Let me just go back again. We talked about structure and functions of financial institutions. We talked about NBFCs and banking system in India, developments in digital payments. All these things do get asked in this particular category, which is banking awareness, right? So now if the paper is tough, then I would suggest somewhere between 5 to 6 is going to be a good score out of 8 to 10, and somewhere between 6 to 8 out of 8 to 10 if it is easy. Okay. Next category is going to be union budget, economic survey, annual report. Fine. Now, based on these three things, nearly 8 to 10 questions are expected. So if the paper is tough, anywhere between 5 to 6, nearly half of what they have asked, if you're able to score, that will help you. And obviously a little higher in case the paper is easy, right? The third category is going to be the most important one, from where majority of the questions are being asked, which is nothing but reports and indices, your PIB in news, RBI circular notifications, and government schemes, right? So in case the paper is tough, anywhere between 25 to 30 is going to help you sail through out of 45 to 50 questions being asked from this particular category. And if the paper is easy, you need to target some 35 to 40 questions here, right? The last category is going to be only phase one related questions. So you know that there are going to be few questions which are going to be asked only in phase one. For example, if you have sports related questions, you have any awards related questions, or say defense exercises which take place, right? So these kind of questions are only going to be asked in phase one. Typically, these are the questions that are also asked in other banking exams, basically. So some 8 to 10 questions are expected from this area. Now, if you are expecting a tough paper, then 3 to 4 also would do. But if it is easy, then if we would suggest some 5 to 8 marks would help you sail through. Okay. So basically what we are trying to say is, if I want to get those 40 marks example out of 80, if the paper is tough, from where will I get those 40 marks? Now I know that those 40 marks, say 25 marks is going to be from the category 3, which is PIB news, reports and indices, RBI circular notification, government scheme. Now my preparation strategy should be such that I'm focusing on these areas, right? So that's why this categorization is important, and that's why you need to know how to target a particular score. Okay. Now, how to prepare the GA section through MCQs. See, very important, friends, understand one thing. Whenever you're going to go to the examination hall, you need to have a plan. You need to have a strategy. Many of these students, they take their first attempt as a practice attempt. Why? I feel it's okay. You can take a benefit of doubt that it's going to be my first attempt. But why don't you take experience from people who have already given, or people like us who can guide you through and understand how can you be prepped up. Okay, what is the right strategy that you can follow? So one right strategy is going to be your preparation of GA through MCQs. Now I'll tell you why I recommend this. One thing is, GA section is vast. Okay, when I talk about, say, current affairs or general awareness, there's no end to it, right? Every day you have a news article being, every day there are multiple topics that are there in the news, right? So sometimes it becomes a little overwhelming, and the question can be, how do we cover, because it's too much, right? And every exam has current affairs being asked in the paper, but at the same time the need of the each exam is going to be different. Okay. The second concern, how to remember all the facts, data points. You pick any news article, there are numerous things that you need to remember. It's kind of, you can say, mugging up as well. In few places you need to understand. Okay. So when you start practicing MCQs and studying through MCQs, that helps you retain these facts and data points. Plus, it will also give you an indication as to you remember things or not. Okay. So I would suggest, if you are solving any MCQ, treat those quizzes as a learning tool rather than, testing tool, because your real test is going to be only on the D day, right? So if you are somebody who's waiting to start solving questions and you're still thinking, okay, I'm covering the syllabus, I would just say, stop for a moment, take a pause, try seeing if you actually remember what you're studying. I might be studying 4 hours of current affairs today, but after 3 days, if I ask you questions from those topics which you've already studied, are you equipped to answer, or are you equipped to give me the right answer? You need to keep checking those things, right? Because again, there's a limited storage in your head at a particular point of time, and there are chances you might forget. But if you keep solving MCQs, you'll not forget, and at the same time, if you have good coverage in the solution, then it will help you to cover a topic very easily. Okay, so this is something that's called like a reverse engineering, wherein it helps you cover the topics through MCQs. Okay, now, so that's the point here. So let me wrap it up again for you. So very quickly speaking, overall, if you take RBI Grade B GA section, firstly, keep in mind there's a sectional timing. So accuracy is very important. There are chances last few questions can be missed, so don't panic there. Okay, you need to make sure your accuracy is good, so you will definitely hit the right score or the safe score. The next part is, it is very vast. Stick to, I would say, one or two sources max. Don't be all over the place. That's a mistake which the aspirants do. Don't keep running behind quantity. Okay, I have covered 8 months, I have covered 9 months. It's okay, it's good. But have you covered the right depth of coverage that is required? If I ask you a question from the perspective of RBI Grade B exam, will you be able to solve that question right for me? Okay, so you need to pause and you need to make sure your study is quality study and not just quantity, right? And one important point that I told you is, there are n number of MCQs in the market, but please make sure you're doing the right one, because it's important that you, at the end of the day, you're scoring after reading those MCQs or solving those MCQs. Okay, so this is how things are. And one other thing is, if you want to see how the coverage should be of any particular quiz, there is one form link here in the description box. Just enter your details and we'll send you the the PDF. You can go through it, understand the explanation bit, and prepare your GA, the depth of coverage of each news article, accordingly. Okay, so that's it, guys, from my end. I hope this short video, which I tried to bring out to help you guys make prepare in the last 15 to 20 days and not do things which are not required for the examination. I've come up with this video, and do subscribe to the channel if you want to keep getting such notifications in the future. All the best, guys, and I'll see you soon again with few of the other tips which are going to help you clear the examination. Thank you so much.